Welcome to Take Control of Your Money. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host for this evening, and we're really glad you're with us. As we surveyed those of you, almost 500,000 of you scheduled to watch us tonight, we found a lot of things about the emotions happening with your money. There's a lot of optimism with the new administration for some people, and for others, they're just looking at their own checkbook, their own income, their own debt load. And honestly, there's a lot of fear. There's a sense of hopelessness, a sense of, I'm stuck. I make a lot of money and I can't seem to move the needle. There's all these outside variables coming at me and I'm not in control. Well, you're in the right place. We've been helping people take control of their money for almost 40 years now. We're really glad that you're with us tonight. So we're going to do a Q&A later tonight. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author. George Camel, #1 best-selling author. And of course, Rachel Cruz, my daughter, also #1 best-selling author. They're my co-hosts on The Ramsey Show. If you've never watched it, if you have, then you know exactly who they are. They're going to be doing a panel with me up here a little bit later, and we'll be hanging out. We're going to be doing cash giveaways. We've got a $20,000 pool. 5 people are going to win $4,000 while you watch tonight, and among them are you. And we've also got this, this wall of all these people. You guys wave, say hey. They're joining us from all over the world, literally, and we're going to be taking questions from them and from you on social media and from the comments as we go along. So we're going to talk a little, teach a little, and then we'll get to that panel with the Q&A a little bit later tonight. So just hang with us. Don't miss out. And be sure you stay tuned in because you want to win the $4,000 possibly. We sure hope you can. Well, it's the 3rd week of January. How's your resolution doing? Yeah. You notice there's parking spots at the gym already. The parking spots are thinned out, but people aren't yet. Yeah, they're not sticking with it. And the same thing happens with our money. The same thing happens with a lot of our goals in life. We don't stay in shape. We don't work on our relationships. We don't get on a budget. And we live in this sense of being stuck, this sense of fear, until something jogs us out. Now, the interesting thing is you can decide to get out and stop living that way, or something will decide it for you eventually. That's what happened to me. When I was 28 years old, I had been buying and selling real estate since I'd gotten out of college, and I had built a net worth of over $1 million, and it's way back in the 80s, and I was making a couple of $100,000 a year, which back then was a lot of money. And I had borrowed too much money. I was stupid. The bank got sold to another bank, and they called all our notes, and the short version of the story is we spent the next 2.5 years of our life losing everything we owned. With a brand new baby and a toddler and a marriage hanging on by a thread, we filed bankruptcy in September of 1988. In one sense, that feels like a century ago, and it almost was. In another sense, it feels like yesterday, because I remember how scared I was. I remember I couldn't breathe. I'm looking at this wife and these 2 kids, and our marriage was on the rocks. She would have left, but she didn't have a car. I mean, it was bad, you guys. I remember standing in the shower with it so hot I could barely stand there, and I'd just cry because I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. Now, you might be there tonight, or you might be doing okay, but you just want to do a little better. You could be anywhere in the spectrum. That doesn't matter. But the point is, when I hit bottom, I hit hard. Someone said, how did you bounce back? I didn't. When you fall that far, it's more of a splat than it is a bounce. So I got the opportunity to start again. I was a baby Christian. I just met God, and I started studying what the Bible says about money. And I started studying old rich people. I didn't want to talk to young rich people. In those days, there was no TikTok for me to talk to young rich people. I didn't want to talk to them anyway. I'd been one of them, and I didn't want his advice. He was obviously not too bright, because here he sat broke. His best laid plans of mice and men didn't work. And these old people gave me these financial principles that were common sense. And they matched those biblical principles, which were common sense. And it turns out having common sense is like having a superpower in America today. The reality is I'm not the only one that's done stuff stupid with money. Whether a generation ago or whether now or the last week, here's the reality when it comes to our money. Most people are stuck, and they feel stuck for good reason. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's on your street. If you count 10 houses, that means 8 of them have too much month left at the end of the money. They're not having fun with their money. They're stuck. Feel like a rat in a wheel. The majority of working-aged adults, when surveyed, are displaying more sense of anxiety, more panic attacks than at any time in history since we've been measuring these things right now. The average car payment in America today, $635, out of control. The number one cause of divorce in America? You got it, money fights, money problems, money stress. We know this. We hear it every single day. 54% of Americans, when we surveyed them the other day, said, if I have debt, I'm losing sleep. Half of them are losing sleep over their financial situation. We know this is who's out there. We hear these stories all the time, and the great news is that is a hopeless situation, but we're not hopeless about it because we know these principles that we're going to talk to you about tonight work. They work to get Sharon and I out from the bottom. They work to get Jade out. She'll tell you her story in a few minutes. They work to get George out and even have caused Rachel to prosper. They work for us, and they work for 10 million people that we've taught these things to. We've taught more people how to handle money and created more millionaires than any other organization in North America right now. Tune into the Ramsey Show, you'll hear it all the time. Sometimes folks stop by the office and do their debt-free scream. Other times they lean over and say, Dave, I'm a baby steps millionaire because 10 years ago I started doing this stuff because I tuned into one of your events like you guys are tuned into tonight. Most people aren't even aware that they're out of control with their money, though. Credit card balances are up. It's $1.7 trillion right now. Car debt is over $1 trillion as well. Student loans, of course, we all know that story. It's an absolute debacle, approaching $2 trillion now. The dream hasn't changed. The dream's still the same. We want to control our destiny. We want to provide for our kids and our family. We want to retire with dignity. We want to leave something to the next generation. We want to change our family tree. But a lot of people in all of this stress that we're describing have started to believe that it's not possible. That hopelessness has invaded, and it's created a victim mentality in some cases. But I'm living proof that you can dig out. I'm living proof this stuff works. You can take control of your money, and we're going to show you how. Let's start with this. The most basic principle of building wealth is you have to get control and possession of your largest wealth-building tool, which is your income. When you give all of your income away in the form of debt payments, you have no ability to be generous, you have no ability to save and invest because you bought crap that you couldn't afford and you put it on payments, and now you make a lot of money and you don't have any money. That could be you. It was me. And it's ridiculous. It's completely out of control. Your number one wealth building tool is your income. Don't give it away. You've got to stop. It's got to stop. Proverbs 22:7 says, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. What happens to us is this. We get out of college, right? And we get out of college with a stupid student loan, because you can't be a student without a student loan. You know, we get credit cards to prove we build our credit score. What's that do? Cause you be able to get into debt. Well, that's stupid. Well, we do it. It's what the whole culture signed up for. And then we go buy a car we can't afford, and then we go buy a house we can't afford, or we gripe about not being able to afford a house because we're tied up in these things. Well, of course you can't afford a house. You're in this. That's the numbers. That's math. And it kicks our butt until we become hopeless and afraid and feel stuck. Well, guess what? That's what happens to slaves. The borrower is slave to the lender. When Sharon and I discovered this, we said, no more. I quit. I'm not playing their game. Citibank, you can kiss my butt. I've had it with you people. You student loan thing, that is an absolute governmental rip-off scam crammed down the throat of the American people, and we bought it. I'm done. I'm not playing you people's game anymore. For me and my house, we're going to get control of our stuff, and we're not going to hand it all to stupid Bank of America for anything. or Toyota Motor Credit or whatever form of payment you want to talk about. We're going to get these stupid pieces of plastic out. They never cause you to do anything except gather up airline miles that you don't use and have plastic surgery, baby. It's time for a plastectomy. You got to stop the stupidity. You got to stop the insanity. It's got to stop if you want to win. Here's the first rule of getting out of debt. Whoops, that one almost got away. And that's American Express. It sure doesn't need to get away. All right, here's the deal. The number one rule of getting out of debt, you have to stop borrowing. You can't get out of a hole while you're digging out the bottom. You got to stop this. You got to say no more. Next time you need a car, buy a car with cash or don't buy a car. Next time you get ready to go out to eat, don't. You're in debt. You need to be getting out of debt. Next time you get ready to go on vacation, don't. We're getting out of debt. We're getting out of debt. We're getting our life back. We've had it. I'm not living like this anymore. It's got to change. It's got to change. The average car payment, as I said, in America is $635 right now. If you invest $635 from age 30 to age 60, you'll have almost $5 million in a mutual fund. Hope you like the car. You know what that car does? It loses value. It goes down like a rock. That's where Chevy got that, like a rock. Oh, and Ford's no better. It's found on the road depreciated. I can go through all of them. They all go down in value, and we pay payments on them to impress somebody at a stupid stoplight that we will never meet. This has got to stop, y'all. It's the land of stupid, and you just can't live there. It's time for a renaissance in the art of personal finance. And when you do it, guys, it sets you free. And I've done this for so long, and I've seen so many people win when they change their mentality away from culture. What we now know is that normal in America sucks. You don't want to be normal. The numbers I just gave you, those statistical facts tell you that normal sucks. You don't want to be normal. You don't want to live like this. I had a guy call me on the radio show a while back. He's like, Dave, you're going to kill me. I got a big truck payment. And I'm like, I'm not going to kill you. You're in Texas. I'm in Tennessee. What's your truck payment, dude? And he's like, $725. And I'm like, oh my God, how much is your house payment? He goes, well, we live in a trailer, it's $550. I'm like, dude, if your truck payment's bigger than your house payment, you might be a redneck. Seriously, oh my gosh. We've got to stop this stuff. So number one rule, we've got to get control of our most powerful wealth building tool, which is our income, which means we have to get out of debt. Stop borrowing is the first step. The next step we use to get people out of debt is called the debt snowball. The debt snowball works like this. We call it baby step 2 in our place. And you list your debts, smallest to largest. You pay minimum payments on everything but the little one. You attack the little one with a vengeance when that debt is gone. You squeeze every dollar out of your dadgum budget that you possibly can, and you attack number 2. You take 6 jobs. You sell so much stuff the kids think they're next, and you attack number 3. Then you attack number 4. And every time you pay off one, you're freeing up more money to attack the next one. The snowball rolls over, and every time it rolls over, it picks up more snow, and it gets you out of debt. Now, this works. I've taught millions and millions of people to do this, and it works. Well, Dave, it's not mathematically correct. You should pay off the highest interest rate first. Honey, if we were doing math, we wouldn't have credit card debt. What a stupid butt statement is that? Dave, it's not mathematically correct. Actually, it is mathematically correct because your math that you're using when you say highest interest rate to lowest interest rate leaves out a basic tenet in business math called the probability of completion. When you factor in probability of completion, paying off the highest interest rate first doesn't give you any feedback that says, oh, this is working. My hope factor is going up. I'm getting more excited. I'm sacrificing deeper. I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through. That's not happening with that other plan. It happens with the debt snowball. And the probability of completion on the debt snowball is much higher. People actually do it. They don't do the other one. And that's what matters. So mathematically speaking, when you factor in probability of completion, the debt snowball is far superior to any other plan. And we've proven it in the marketplace. We have the social proof, so shut up and do it. Quit arguing with me. So hilarious to me that broke people want to argue about money with somebody that's got some. That's kind of dumb. Don't do that. Now, once we're out of debt, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to start saving. The first thing we save for is we save for an emergency fund. You need well, Grandma said it, didn't she? She said save for everybody say it with me, rainy day, right? Visual aid. You need to save for a rainy day. You need to save because crap's going to happen. And if you don't have any money, that garbage that happens is going to be new debt. Or you're going to cash out your 401k and take a penalty to put the transmission in your car because you had no money. Or to pay for a medical bill that happened because you had no money. You need an emergency fund. Stuff's gonna happen. Dave, you need to be positive. I'm positive. Stuff's gonna happen. You need a fund to catch it. Absolutely 100%. It'll give you peace. Now think with me for a second. What if you had no payments because you used the debt snowball and you had $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000 sitting for an emergency? Just breathe that in for a second. You with me? You feeling your shoulders drop? You feeling the weight come off? Feeling the hope come up? Feel peace? Anxiety starts to go out the side door? Well, that's the math, and that's what's going to happen. Because if you got $20,000 in the bank and no payments but a house payment, and something comes your way, it's a yawn. If you got $20,000 in debt and no money and something comes your way, it's drama. Have you ever noticed that when you're broke, your life looks more like a country song, and when you're doing things right, everything seems to go right? Yeah, it's the way this stuff works, folks. So get that emergency fund in place, clear that debt, and then we can begin to really build wealth. Start putting money in your kids' college fund. Start putting money in your 401k, certainly Roth 401k, Roth IRAs, and good growth stock mutual funds. Do you know $100 a month invested from age 25 to age 65 at prevailing market rates? For the last 40 years, if you take the average of the S&P 500 and you invest at that rate, you'd have $1,176,000. $100 a month. So if you're 25 years old and you're watching this and you don't end up a millionaire, you ought to have your butt kicked, because I just showed you how. Just $100. Oh, and by the way, if you wait till you're 40, you can still do it by the time you're 60, not even 65. You can go from 40 to 60 and still be a millionaire, but it's $1,000 a month, and that's even doable for a lot of folks. So I don't care what your age is, what your income is. None of that's static. None of that's just a snapshot. Your life is a film strip. You can change. You can change. You can move on to the next thing. You can push through, and we can show you how. And those are the first two things you do. The typical American budget, and we've done literally millions of them, shows $1,583 a month going to debt payments that are not the house payment. That's cars, student loans, credit cards, medical bills, and other miscellaneous stupid butt stuff, right? $1,583 a month. Now, if you're 40 and you just free up that stuff doing the debt snowball like I just showed you, and you take that $1,583 and you put it in a good growth stock mutual fund, you're going to have about $1.5 million at 60, 20 years from today. You'll be a millionaire. And you'll be following the baby steps that we talk about at Ramsey all the time, and we call that a baby steps millionaire, because you follow the stuff we teach. It's very doable. We have to lower our ridiculous level of consumption, get control, start acting like freaking adults, not little children. I want it, I deserve it because I work hard. Oh, shut up. Call the wambulance. Nobody cares how hard you work. We all work hard. Shut up. Here's the trick. Do something to get control of your life. Sacrifice. And listen, as long as you care what other people think, you're going to be broke. If your broke friends aren't making fun of your financial plan, you're not on track. So you have got to get this whole mindset shift and have that I've had it moment. Les Brown, the great motivator, says people change their lives when they finally say, I've had it. And you can just decide, I'm just disgusted. Or you can go bankrupt like I did. That's how I had my have had it moment. I don't recommend that method. Instead, just decide, look at it and go, we make too much money, we work too hard to be this stressed out, this broke, and this far in debt. I've had it. You can say that right now. You can look at your spouse right now and go, that's it. And not I've had it with you, spouse. I'm talking about I've had it with our stupidity in this house. We're going to stop the insanity. It's got to be stopped. Now, I'm going to show you the next principle, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to bring a lady up here who is a fireball. Her name's Jade Warshaw. She's the #1 best-selling author. Jade and her husband, Sam, they paid off $465,000 in debt. So she's getting ready to teach you part of how they did that. And if you don't agree with what she's teaching you, you're what's known as wrong. She does this stuff. It's like my old pastor used to say, a man or a woman with an experience is not at the mercy of a man or a woman with an opinion. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Jade's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We're not confused about what works. We know what works, and we're showing you tonight. This stuff works, and we want to give you that hope. We want to inject that into you. We're so proud of it. We think you can do this. So you guys welcome up to the stage right now, Jade Warshaw. Bring it, Jade.
Woo, thank you, Dave. Thank you. All right, man, oh man. First off, let me just tell you right now, it's a blessing to be on this stage, and I'm going to tell you why. 10 years ago, I was sitting right where you're sitting. I was the one tuning into these live streams because my husband and I were sitting right in the center. Man, $460,000 of debt. I'm telling you right now, I know what it feels like to just feel suffocated, feel like you're strapped for cash, feel overdrawn, right? Some of you are probably overdrawn right now. I know that feeling, but let me tell you something. 10 years passed, and this is where I am now. And 10 years is going to pass for you, and you get to decide where you're going to end up. And I'm going to tell you, for us, a critical juncture was getting on a budget. Man, it's so important. It is really the foundation of everything we teach. Dave just went through a bunch of really foundational teachings, but the budget, I'm telling you, it sits underneath all of that. And if you're anything like me, when you hear the word budget, let's just be honest. We don't like it, right? It's uncomfortable. It feels constraining to us. It makes your armpits sweat. It makes your stomach, cramp up. Because a lot of us have that negative relationship with the budget. When we hear budget, right, it's like that finger shaking at you. You've done wrong. You were bad. You got to get on a budget, right? Am I the only one? I don't think I am. Livestream wall, Zoomers, I'm not the only one. And if you feel that way, I want to set you free because at the core of it, a budget, it's not a punishment, okay? It's just a plan for your money, okay? It's a plan for your money. And if you do a budget right, it really is a map that gets you to all of your financial goals, okay? That's what it's supposed to be. And a good budget is one that you do every single month because every single month is different, right? And a good budget is one that is zero-based, meaning you're spending every single dollar of your hard-earned income on purpose every single month, right? You're giving every single dollar an assignment. So that's really all a budget is. And some of you are going, well, Jade, I don't know if I really need a budget. I mean, maybe I don't make enough money to budget. Or maybe you're thinking I make too much money to budget. I just need a little bit more control over my money. You've got all these excuses. But let me just tell you, budgets are like toothbrushes. Everyone needs one. I say it all the time. Budgets are like toothbrushes. Everyone needs one. Without it, things get ratchet. They get messy, right? So we all need them no matter how much money you make, no matter how little money you make. It's just you creating a plan, okay? It's a set of instructions on how you're gonna spend your money, okay? And at the end of the day, think of it like self-care. If that helps you, think of budgeting like self-care. It's really yourself deciding that you care about where your money goes, okay? And it's so important because your money is expensive. Think about that for a minute. Your money is the most expensive thing that you have. It costs you. Right? It costs you time. I don't know about you, but it costs me time away from my husband. I got 2 kids, right? It costs me time and effort, right? I'm giving my ideas, my energy to make money. It costs me sleep. I'm up at 6 a.m. every morning. It costs me sleep, okay? So this is a costly asset that we have, the most expensive thing we have. For some of us, it costs us our sanity, right? You're on your last good nerve. And we do this for 40 years of our life. And yet we don't know what happened to the money. Now, let's say you bought yourself a Louis bag, a Louis Vuitton bag. You actually bought something that you can see the value of. If I said, hey, that Louis bag you bought, where is it? You know exactly where it's at. You say, Jade, it's in the closet, it's on the shelf, on the hook underneath the light. Like, I know where I keep it. But if I said, hey, what happened to that $1,600 you had last month? You'd look sheepish. You'd be like, Jade, I don't know where it went. Maybe it went to groceries, maybe it went to DoorDash, maybe it went to Target. That's crazy. Your most expensive thing that you had. Matter of fact, you're not alone. 60% of Americans, if I asked them that same question, 60% of Americans would say, yeah, Jade, I don't know what happened to that money, which is crazy because so much money passes through our hands through the span of our working life. If you're a person who works for 40 years, which is fairly normal, and you just make an average of $50,000 a year throughout that entire span, That's $2 million passing through your hands. I don't know about you, but where I come from, $2 million is a bag. Like, that's a lot of money. Don't you think you ought to treat it with care? Don't you think you should know where it went? And some people think, well, Jade, if I had more money, I'd be a better manager of it. Can I tell you it's just the opposite? Matter of fact, Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with a little can be trusted with more. It starts with a little. It starts with the details, okay? More money doesn't equal better with money. Better with money equals more money. It's the opposite, okay? It starts with the little. It starts with the details, okay? In 2025, the mantra is, let's be faithful with the details. Matter of fact, I love this. I actually looked up the word budget, and it's a French word. It means budget. It means little bag. Little bag. Start with the little. So in 2025, we're not gonna fumble the bag, okay? We're gonna get little. We're gonna start with that little bag, and we're gonna grow it to a big bag. Because remember, the time is gonna pass anyway. So let me show you how my husband and I got on a budget. I'm gonna teach you 3 principles tonight, and I'm also gonna show them to you on this beautiful wall back here. Hello, Zoomers. I'm gonna show you how to make your budget. We're gonna do it 3 ways. We're gonna be detailed, realistic, and flexible. That's how we're gonna make a great budget that is a plan that's not a punishment, okay? Now, whenever I build these budgets, I always have a buddy backstage. His name is Bobby. He's behind the scenes in the internet, and he's gonna bring up every dollar on our beautiful Zoom wall here so that you can see it. For a lot of you, you might be seeing it for the first time. So let me give you an orientation to what you're seeing. Right now, that little left column over there, I don't want you to worry about that at all. Matter of fact, completely disregard that, okay? And then over here on the other side, you can disregard that column for right now, too. I want us to focus our attention to the center because that's where we're talking about right now, okay? Because in the center, that's where the action happens. We've got our income on the top, and then at the bottom, it's all of our expenses. And at the end of the day, that's really what a budget is, right? It's your income minus your expenses. So when we're talking about doing the detailed budget, we're talking about filling in these numbers with detail, okay? So at the top, Bobby, show them where the income is. So right there, you'll see it's kind of defaulted, her paycheck, his paycheck. It doesn't have to stay like that. You can add more, okay? If you're a person who gets, 4 different paychecks or 6 different paychecks, you can add all those in. It's very customizable. And you can also customize your expenses, right? Because I told you before, on the budget, you want to plan every single dollar, meaning you're thinking of everything you could possibly spend money on, okay? So let's just go through here. It looks like it's got everything covered, Bobby, but wait a minute. What about doggy daycare? Let's add that in there, right? Because that's something that's important to us. We want to spend money on it. And maybe yours isn't doggy daycare. Maybe it's a hair appointment that you have, or maybe it's, you play golf on the weekends. Whatever it is, you just add it to the budget, okay? And that first budget, you want to be detailed because we really want to get a picture of what's going on in our life. So we added those line items. Everything's looking good, but something I noticed here, we're up in the red. If you notice up top here, underneath January 2025, we can see that we're in the red, but that's okay. That's okay because that brings me to our next point. We want every budget to be realistic, okay? So when you start doing that budget and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in the red, don't let it stop you, keep going because we want to get a realistic picture of what's actually going on so that we can fix the problem, right? And so being realistic with the numbers that you put in here is so important. Listen, you can't be 40 years old with 40 kids listen, don't have 40 kids. You can't be 40 years old with 4 kids trying to squeeze into a 26 and single budget, okay? It's just not gonna work for you. So be realistic, even if you're in the red, okay? And now you might be saying, okay, well, Jade, what am I supposed to do if I'm in the red? There's 2 different things you can do. Number 1, easy, let's just cut some expenses, right? Every budget has things that we need and the things we want, okay? So we're gonna cut some of the things that are wants. We don't need them. So Bobby, let's see what we have here. Subscriptions. Can you do without Hulu? Can you do without Netflix? I think you can. I know that you can. So let's get rid of that $55. That cleared up some of the money right there. You might need to clear up a little bit more. You wanna know what I suggest? Raising your income. And most of us do that by side hustles, okay? I'm just telling you right now, if you're trying to get out of debt, having a side hustle is part of the get out of debt starter kit. It's just part and parcel to the deal. So let's add a side hustle on there, Bobby, and let's do it for $500. Now, you might be thinking, Jade, how am I supposed to make $500 extra? Let me tell you something. We do webinars all the time to coach people on their budgets. And we always ask people, hey, what do you do for a side hustle? And we ask them to put it in the chat. We find that people they're making $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. They're making bank on side hustles. Matter of fact, if you're watching this right now, why don't you throw in the chat, just put it in there for people to see. It might be scrolling really fast, but that's okay. Let people see what you're doing and what you're making and give them some ideas, because in 2025, we need to make some money, okay? So when we added that side hustle, look, all of a sudden, the numbers are black, $466. That means that's an overage. That's money we have left to spend, which is excellent, okay? So we've got our budget here. It's starting to work for us. Now the other big question is, okay, Jade, I got the thing. How am I supposed to stick to it? Okay? And I know what the TikTok influencers and the finfluencers are telling you. They're saying, oh, at the end of the month, just close out your budget. At the end of the month, it's over by then. The spilled milk is there. That never works. Do not wait till the end of the month to close out your budget. The key to sticking to your budget is tracking your transactions in real time as they're happening. And we can do that in every dollar. So, Bobby, now let's take a look at this other side of the screen where our transactions are. Anytime we spend money, it's going to go automatically through Bank Connect into our every dollar budget, which is so helpful, because guess what? If I told myself, hey, I'm only gonna spend $200 on restaurants, next time I go to Subway, which it'll never be me, but if you go to Subway, listen, all you do is track it in there and it will tell you, okay, here it is, I'm tracking my expense. Now next time I go out, I know I only have $173 to spend. It's as easy as that, okay? And I love with every dollar, it gets kind of smart, because after a while it says, oh, you go to In-N-Out? That must be a restaurant, because you're always tracking it in restaurants. And so that's how that works. After a while, tracking your transactions, let me tell you, it's like 2 minutes of your day. But that 2 minutes is how you stick to your budget. It's how you take control of your money. It's how you get out of debt, okay? So that's how it works. We've been detailed. We've been realistic. Now let's talk about being flexible, because the truth is, some of us, the reason that we don't like a budget is we feel like we're in a straitjacket. It doesn't have to be like that. A good budget is actually very flexible, okay? We didn't chisel it in stone like Moses, all right? It's pencil, it's paper, it's digital. We can change it. The truth is, for most people, it takes 90 days, 3 months, to really get the feel of a budget, okay? So it's okay. And since we're doing a new budget each month, there are going to be new things that you learn to budget for, okay? Like, this is the month of license and registration. This is the month of Christmas, right? You're going to learn that. And so if something pops up, the way that we're flexible is we actually, you can move money between categories. So let's just say, oh my gosh, Grandma, I love you, but I forgot your birthday. It slipped my mind. I got to get you, your flowers and your card. So let's just say, Grandma's birthday, hey, why don't we take it from a category that's not important, right? Let's take it from a superfluous category, clothing. Yeah, do that, Bobby. $50, throw that over to Grandma's birthday, and now you didn't spend any more money than you planned to spend. You just changed the category, okay? And keeping track of that is part of you taking control of your money. I never want you to take from a category that's important, like emergency funds or investing, that sort of thing. But if it's unimportant category, you definitely can do that. All right, so we've learned to do that. Let me tell you about one other thing that's gonna save your life here. I wish I had figured this out earlier. It's all about having a cushion line item, okay? Because the truth is, things are gonna happen, you're gonna forget. Amazon Prime always comes out of my account and I've always forgotten about it. That is the truth. And so having a cushion line item makes sure that you don't have $0 in your account, because a zero-based budget does not mean, say it with me, a zero-based budget does not mean $0 in your account, okay? So put that cushion line item in there. What are you gonna decide on it, Bobby? For $100, that looks great. And I know you're wondering, Jade, how much should it be? This is up to your discretion, okay? I'll tell you what it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a $1,000 emergency fund, okay? That's baby step one, and this is not to take the place of baby step one. It's just a little something there to make sure that you're not overdrafting your account. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. All right, we've got $366 left to spend. Now, here's the thing. Remember what Dave was talking about earlier, that debt snowball? Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom to see what we're gonna do with this money. Okay, if you see this person has entered their debts, which is what you're gonna do, and you're already gonna line up your, your minimum payment, and with the debt snowball, like Dave said, you pay minimum payments on everything, but you put the extra money on the smallest debt. Luckily, every dollar put them smallest to largest for you, and now, Bobby, we can just throw that $366 onto our smallest debt Discover card, and we can start knocking it out. So that is how this works, guys. It's as simple as this. Your budget, it's so important. I know we covered a lot. I know you're probably out of breath and you probably have a lot of questions. Don't worry, we're gonna cover those and more. Again, Rachel Cruz, George Campbell, they're gonna join us in just a minute. But for now, I wanna bring Dave back on the stage, because Dave, you know how this feels. We've both been there, right?
I'm so proud of you. Hey, look, this guy right here, he's gonna do it.
He's been
leaning in.
Yes.
He's listening to everything.
Yes.
That lady over there, I'm not going to say anything, but she's asleep, okay?
Oh, okay, okay.
This guy right here,
yeah,
he's in.
He got it. He got it.
This lady's in. Look
yeah,
at her.
She's got it.
See what I'm saying? You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell what happens. The body language changes when the hope kicks in.
That's right. That's right.
And it absolutely, I'm going to do this. I'm leaning in. Yes. I'm going to try
Yes.
Hey, try something different. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The 12-steppers call that the definition of insanity.
Yes.
If you don't like it, then go back to being broke.
Okay, and the time's gonna
try
pass.
something new. Hello.
That's what I'm saying, Dave. The time's gonna pass anyway. I told them 10 years ago, I was sitting where they're sitting.
Absolutely you were.
And the time passes and you end up here. And I know, Dave, I remember the struggle. I know the way it felt for Sam and I to.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Once you put your finger on it and you start making it behave, it starts wiggling and you go, wait a minute. You start to feel it, don't you?
Yeah.
You may have a long road ahead of you, but you can start to feel it and you can start to see it.
That's right.
Versus sitting back and going, well, I'm going to wait on whatever. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Not going to work. The Lone Ranger's not coming. Nobody's coming. The cavalry's not coming.
It's you.
Your adults know that grown-ups take care of business. And the problem with my money is the guy in my mirror. If I can get that guy to behave, he can be skinny and rich.
I know, that's right.
He's got a donut problem, but other than that, he's doing pretty good. Man, I'm telling you, this stuff works. I'm so proud of you. That was good.
It's a blessing. Thank you,
did a great
Dave.
job. Well done, well done, well done. Guys, 2024 was crazy. 2025's happening, and I think we finally beginning to get some of the politics and all the rhetoric and stuff behind us. There's a lot happening in Washington. Really, it's up to you, though, to fix your house. What happens in your house is more important than what happens in the White House. I hope that the economy booms under the Trump administration. I hope it does. You know what? It's not going to affect you at all unless you're faithful in the little things and you start doing the basic principles that work. No one's coming to your house with a bag of money. They're not. And so you're going to have to be doing grown-up stuff and take the power back and decide, I'm not giving all my money away to all these companies who have set up a system to scam me generationally. It's got to stop. And for Sharon and I said, as for me and my house, it ends here. You're looking at the last branch of this part of the Ramsey tree that'll be in debt. We're going to make so much money, save so much money, build so much wealth that we can be outlandishly generous. We can retire with dignity. We can change our family tree. A godly man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. We're going to be those people. We finally said, I've had it when we went bankrupt. And you don't have to go bankrupt to get this. You just got to decide. And once that decision's done, then you take control of your financial future. Now, this isn't just every dollar. We want to put a set of tools out here for you, all designed to fast-track the financial success. So tonight, our bundle that we want to offer you is the Every Dollar Premium, which hooks to your bank, like Jade was showing you, the best budgeting app in America today, in the world today. It's an $80 value to sign up for the entire year. Financial Peace University, over 10 million families have been through this 9-week course, 9 lessons to go through and learn how to handle money. It's the stuff they should have taught you in school and they didn't. That's a $99 value to take that as a part of the Every Dollar bundle. Our group coaching that you'll have also for an entire year is a $360 value, where coaches will give you individual answers to your individual situation as you're working your every dollar budget and the principles that you're learning in Financial Peace University. All of that totals up, if you haven't done the math with me, to $530 value. We're doing it tonight for $79.99. Really simple. All you got to do is go to that link at ramseysolutions.com/offer, and that'll get you done. It's also in the show notes. You can click the link there, and we'll bother you with a text later because, hey, The guys with the extended warranty do, so why shouldn't we? There you go. So anyway, we're going to send it to you, make sure we let you know that it's there, and you can get this all $500 worth of stuff for $79.99. Dave, I don't have the time. You have the time not to. It doesn't take that much time. You're out there moving around, spending money, wasting time. You're binge watching other people have successful lives. You don't have the time not to. Dave, I don't have $80. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You spent that on 2 meat lover pizzas last weekend. You know exactly what $80 does. It's not that much at all. Shut up. That's a year's worth of all of these things. It's ridiculous. When I first started selling this stuff 35 years ago, it was $580 to go through 26 weeks. You had to physically come to the class, and I taught you with a bad suit and an overhead projector. Those people are now worth $5 and $10 million. You think they got a good value for $500? I think they do. We're only charging you because digital, our cost of goods sold is almost nothing, so we're charging you almost nothing. It's too cheap at $79.99. It makes you think it's not even real. So we're going to be sending out the text message. Try something new, boys and girls. You want a different result? You got to try something new. All right, as we said, we're going to be giving away $20,000 tonight. I want to give away the first one. Oh, I love this, right here from our own home state. The first $4,000 winner is Candace B from Morristown, Tennessee, up in the hills of East Tennessee. Beautiful area up at Morristown. And praying for the guys in western Tennessee and eastern North Carolina. There's a lot of hurting folks up in those areas right now. It's a good time to be sending somebody $4,000 up that direction. So I'm glad, hope that helps you, Candace. I don't know what your situation is, but let that be your start. Let that be the thing that pushes you to the next level. And stay tuned because we're going to announce the other 4 winners as we go throughout the rest of the evening here. We're going to transition now and bring up the rest of the crew, the rest of the Ramsey personalities. Rachel Cruz is coming up. She's a Ramsey personality, my daughter, #1 best-selling author multiple times. Jade Washaw, you already know about, and George Camel, #1 best-selling author and Ramsey personality. These guys do the Ramsey Show with me regularly, along with Dr. John Deloney and Ken Coleman. But this is the Money Crew, and we are here to answer your questions.
That's right, yes. And you guys did such a fantastic job talking through really those basics of money. And so being able to answer your questions tonight, whether it's social, email, or here on Zoom, we are so excited just to engage you guys and talk through some of your personal money questions because personal finance is so personal. So let's kick it off with Zoom with Joel from Ozark, Missouri.
All right.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, y'all.
How are you doing? We can see you here too, which is perfect. What's your
Awesome.
question for us?
So my question, my wife and I, we're different intensity levels as far as our process of becoming debt free. I'm more like on trash day watching the neighbors to see if they set a $10 lamp out on the curb I can hawk on Facebook. She's more like, hey, let's try to take a nice trip with the girls. So what my question is, how can we kind of bridge that gap between our intensity levels to find a common ground?
For sure. I have a question, Joel, for you. What baby step are you guys on? Are you guys working your way out of debt?
We're like at the finish line with
Okay.
baby step 2. So we're getting ready to cross into 3, 4, and 5. And
So
we're still
good.
fired up. I mean, we're on the same page as far as wanting to be debt free as quick as possible. So there's at least that positive that we're on the same page. But just like I said, we're just different intensity levels. I probably need to tone it down a little bit.
Well,
I don't know.
I think you're
I
both doing
disagree.
fine. I think
Yeah.
you're both doing fine. Larry Burkett used to say, Joel, if 2 people just alike get married, one of you is unnecessary. So it's good that opposites attract.
I was going to say, I think
one
that
being
there's...
fired up and the other one being chill, that's good.
It's what you always find, too. You know, when we talk to couples, there's always going to be the one that's you, Joel, that's out on the street looking for a lamp in the trash
That's
to be
so
like,
great.
here's what we can do.
Steve
And then there's
Martin
always going to
movie,
be the one
remember
that
that?
just says, oh, that's not my thing, right? So again, I think that is so normal. That is so common, Joel. And I think the biggest thing is that your values align. The ultimate goal of where you guys are going, the direction of which you are going is consistent, and it's together as a team. And I think that is far and beyond #1 for me.
Yeah, as long as you're aligned, as long as you're both have agreed this is the goal and I'm going to go at it more intensely than you are, that's okay. I'm not going to do anything. Good luck with that. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
At that point, your values are not shared. And so
That's a different problem. Now we got a marriage thing going on.
absolutely, yes. And for Joel, I don't think that's it necessarily.
No, I think he's described, you guys are on the same page. It's just he's the guy with the lamp and she's like, would you chill a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm a little sick of Ramsey stuff right
That's
now.
right.
Well, the way the baby steps are, it actually is great that you guys are the way you are because Joel, for you early on, baby steps 1, 2, and 3, you need that intensity. You need that person to remind, the other spouse of this is what we need to be in order to get these first 3 done. Whereas your wife, she'll probably shine more in baby steps 4, 5, and 6 because you do get to kind of ease off the gas and just like enjoy life.
You know what? That's an interesting thing because some people are marathoners and some are sprinters.
That's right.
And so the sprinter always does well. That's the gazelle intensity in the first 3 steps. That's me. And then my wife Sharon, she's like, we're just going to keep at this. She's the tortoise that wins the race, beats the hare every time.
Yeah, and I think the relational aspect, Joel, I love your question because we get calls a lot on the Ramsey show in terms of this idea with relationships and money. And I think it's always a beautiful thing, and I feel like this is how Winston and I have experienced it, and kind of probably you guys with your spouses. But I know for me, I'm like, I now have learned to so appreciate the strengths that he brings, because he's probably more you, Joel, and I'm probably more your wife, honestly, where I'm like, yeah, to enjoy life, that's what I do. I allow us to have fun and have a life. But Winston, make sure that we're not broke and that I don't spend everything. So, but again, I think there is that element of embracing your differences and finding the respect of what your spouse brings to the table. Like, that creates beautiful conversation.
It's very, very important, though, that the ultimate goal is agreed on.
That's
right.
And that we're both driving to that, and that sheds off all the 90% of all the disagreements.
Yes, so great.
It's just a question. So great.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for your question.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Lamp.
All right, we have a question from social, which is fun, at Callaloo1994. My significant other and I aren't married yet. Should we have joint bank accounts?
Ooh, I'm going to say immediately no. You should not have joint bank accounts if you're not married, right? That should not happen until after you've said I do. And then once you say I do, 100% combine your money. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You go further, faster together.
I love it. So great. All right, up next, we have another Zoom call, which is so great. We have Art from Nashville, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Art.
Hey, Art, how are you?
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. What's your question for us?
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent here in actually Nashville, and I live in a world where it's pretty uncertain where my income's coming a lot of times. It's not as consistent as I'd like it to be. Business ebbs and flows quite a bit based on the market, and so that can be a challenge. Just curious, how would I look at budgeting knowing that that's the kind of, income that I've got and the lifestyle I've chosen for myself?
Yeah. Art, tell us, has there been a $0 month? What's a normal month for you? What's a low month or a high month?
Yeah, typically, I sell 1 to 2 homes a month. Last year I sold 18 homes. So, you're talking about between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. But then there can be 2 months where I don't make anything, right? Like there can be, the wintertime is oftentimes a little bit slower than the spring or the summer. So
Yeah.
it's kind of,
No, that's a real problem. And a lot of people are regular income, commission, sales, seasonal, whatever it is. So what you're going to do when you open up your every dollar budget is look at it like a prioritized spending plan. So you got to cover the 4 walls. If we only make this much, we cover the 4 walls, nothing else gets paid. If we make more than that, we can start to go to the next priority, whether that's debt payoff, savings, the luxuries, the subscriptions, whatever it is. And if you do have a $0 month, you can look at this like a peaks and valleys fund where you set aside some of that money knowing you got to cover those $0 months in the wintertime. And that'll help you avoid the freak out mode of, am I going to get money this next month? And so getting out of baby step 2 and 3 really helps because then you have more cushion as well.
Yeah, Art, I learned to do that Peaks and Valleys fund when I was doing real estate. When I was first discovered these things, I'd gone broke in the real estate business. I was back to doing real estate again. I had some 0 months, and I might have $20,000 the next month. And that was real. So the Peaks and Valleys fund, what I want to point out, is different than the emergency fund. This is, I have a $20,000 month and I might have 0 next month, so I'm not putting all of that in the budget. I'm just going to slide $5K over here to cover the house and the water and the lights and the food in case I have a 0 month. And that's different than an emergency fund. Emergency fund's only for emergencies. This is just cash planning. It's a different thing. So you got 2 different accounts here when you're running that. And this is only for those of you that have extreme volatile income. And extreme would mean you have a 0 month. Most people that have a volatile income don't have 0 months. Now, in real estate business, that's one where you would. But most of the time you'll have, my worst month is 4,000. Well, you can cover most of your stuff. My best month is 14,000 or whatever, that kind of stuff. So you can cover, all you got to do then is force rank the difference then, like George was saying, in every dollar. You don't need the peaks and valley there. If you're low average, you'll cover your nut. that's what you run with.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
if you got a zero low average like you do, you've got to have that separate peaks and valleys fund to cover that.
Are you married, Art?
I am.
You are, okay. I was gonna say, because
28
having,
years.
oh good, congratulations. And I was gonna say for your wife, probably having a completely separate account, beyond the emergency fund, what Dave was saying. For me, I know I like to see a completely different account of like, okay, here's some money. So if we do have a lower month, this isn't being pulled from the emergency fund, and it's so visually easy to see. There's something that gives me a lot of peace in that, maybe your wife as well, I don't know. But just knowing that you're planning out ahead, I think is really, really important.
Hey, Art, does she work?
Yeah. She's a photographer. She's self-employed.
Okay, does she have, what's her low month?
She probably does about $1,000 a month on
Okay.
average.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so you
great.
still probably can't cover everything. When you have zero and she
Yeah.
makes 1,000, you probably still need an account. Okay.
And
Because if she's making $5,000 a month, then the whole conversation just changed back again.
Right.
What's been
Yeah.
really helpful is we have a feature in every dollar called paycheck planning on that premium side, and we'll send you that bundle, Art, to help you with that. And that paycheck planning tool is a game changer because it'll show you, based on how much income you have, how much expenses you have, when you're going to run out of money, and you can start moving bills around, calling, switching it online so that you don't run out of money. Gives you that really clear visual.
George is giving away bundles.
I know. I didn't know we could do that.
Such a
listen.
giver.
Dave runs the place.
He's generous.
God owns it all.
Thanks, guys.
So great, thank you, Art. Thanks for your question. All right, we have another question from social at Traveling Yogoni.
Yogini.
Yugini, oh my gosh, so great. All right, this question is how to budget for fluctuating incomes. Mine isn't the most consistent.
Sounds like we just answered that.
Yeah.
If we didn't answer it there, we're not gonna. We gave him the answer.
Maybe in
We
a
did.
different language.
Well, if she's a traveling yogini, that's a pretty fluctuating income.
How do you know it's a she? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
Yeah, but and I would say this, we have a fluctuating income in our household, and so doing the budget, which we do every dollar every single month, it does. I think this is one that adds a piece of complexity. It's not impossible, totally doable, and once you get in the rhythm of it, it's really
well, and
not
the
that
paycheck
hard.
planning feature makes it work.
It does make it.
It does, yeah. But again, I think that if you're making a consistent salary, budgeting, you have like no excuses. Like just do it. Like it's so easy. But the math does get a little bit more complicated when you have an inconsistent income. But that's okay. You can still budget while doing it. But just empathizing with you out there that
Well,
are
the
on
other thing is,
commission,
like, Jade,
because
like-
it's really true.
You're talking about side hustles.
Yeah.
Sometimes that part is not predictable.
That's right.
So
It's
like
inconsistent,
we've had
too.
some teachers that do tutoring in the afternoon, and you make $50, $100 an hour
Yeah.
tutoring kids in the afternoon. But you don't know how many kids you're going to get in a single month.
That's right.
So you set your every dollar budget up. But then when you said go back daily and update,
right.
that adjusts on the fly. It's a dynamic movement then as your income is shifting. And now you're budgeting. You're still making every dollar behave, but you can't go, well, I can't budget.
Right.
No, you have to still.
That's right.
You still have to make the money behave.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So great. All right, guys, it's time for another cash giveaway, which is so fun. So winner number 2 is Tammy S from Springdale, Arkansas. So great, Tammy.
$4,000 richer. Just like
Yeah,
that.
that's a nice
lot of
one.
money.
Yeah, our team will be in touch, and yeah, excited that you're the number 2 winner. So fun. All right, we're going to go to Shirley from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, for our next question. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Oh, we're so glad you're here.
So my question for you is, how do I pay off $250,000 in debt? Now that includes my mortgage, on a $4,000 a month net income. And here's the little kicker. My plan is to be debt free in 7 years. Can I do it?
No. Not on $4,000, you can't. Not in 7 years. That's $48,000 a year times 7 years doesn't get you there if you eat. So something's going to change in the math for you to be there in 7 years, or it's going to take longer than 7 years. The good news is it never stays the same. How much of the 250 is mortgage, and how much is the rest of it?
139,000, 38,000 on the mortgage, and about
110.
72,000 in student loans,
Okay.
and then some other things, a car, an HVAC loan.
Yeah. So you're single?
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living?
I am a claims analyst.
Okay.
I work for a government contracted company.
Okay, good, good. All right. And So if an insurance company had a disaster area and they send in claims adjusters, traveling claims adjusters, is that your skill set?
No, sir. So I work in medical claims.
Oh.
So I am a claims analyst for a government contracted medical
Gotcha.
claims company. And I
Okay.
can't really say who they are.
No, I don't
but
want you to.
yes.
That's fine. I was just trying to figure out how you could make more money because you need to get your income up. That was where I was going. You don't have to, but I'd like for you to hit that 7-year goal. But we've got to use numbers that get you there. And so, number one, you
can I ask
definitely
you-
can clear up everything but the mortgage inside 7 years for sure.
Okay. Okay.
And then
What
the
if
question
I'm
is,
planning-
what could you do to add some income to your situation?
I work a lot of overtime. Well, about 5 to 6 months out of the year.
And
Try to
that's in
get-
addition to the 4,000?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you
That's
make
it.
in a year? What's your annual income average, including OT?
About, well, before taxes and
Mhm.
everything, about 72,000.
Okay, so you're getting a little OT, but you're not getting a ton of it. Okay, so I'm not telling you what to do, but
I could
here's the thing.
get more.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to change jobs. You don't, but to hit that goal, you've got to increase your income. It's just a math thing, and to hit that goal, you need to do something to kick your deal up, and that's either a job change or it's adding some stuff on, and that's why I was reaching around in your skill set trying to figure out what a great side hustle is. Anybody got any great ideas?
Well, are you doing any investing right now?
No.
Okay, good. We'll
Good.
tell you to pause investing. Is the car worth selling? Is it worth a lot of money and you can make a little profit and buy something cheaper?
So I owe about 11,000 on it, and I think it's worth about 8,000. It's a little 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage.
That's not a help. Okay, we're not there yet.
No.
Did you get a tax refund?
I haven't filed for this.
I mean, did
year
you last
yet.
year?
No, I owed $600.
Okay, that's good. That's about where you want to be.
I
Good.
mean, the truth is, 7 years, I can tell you from experience, 7 years is a long time to be paying off debt. You can absolutely do it. That's how long it took Sam and I to pay off our debt. But the truth is, the longer that journey is, it's hard to stay motivated and focused, right? And so if you can sacrifice now, pick up more hours. I think I heard you say you're single. If you don't have kids, the great thing is you got all the time in the world. Like, you don't have to get home and cook anybody dinner. You know, nobody's telling you,
I
where
have
were
a
you?
Dog.
Listen, come on now.
I have
George
empathy.
can
I have
empathize with that.
empathy. The dog needs love.
I don't have that much empathy. Trust me, you will thank yourself for really digging in and cutting this down, cutting this timeline in half. Just, it's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
Jade, how many different side hustles did you guys have?
Oh, I don't know if I could go through all of them, Dave. I mean, it's like, do everything you can. We trained dogs, we sold cupcakes, we did lessons, boy, what else did I do? I worked at a tent place that installs tent on the windows.
Yeah, but you made more money with voice lessons probably because that
Yeah.
was your skill than you did anything else.
Yeah, you're always going to make more money if you pick something that it's a skill that you have, you set the hours, you set the rate, as opposed to working for someone
I was
else.
saying you go straight to the consumer.
Driving,
Yeah, if there's
driving tent
anything,
stakes,
Shirley.
that's a little, that one's probably low pay. Yeah.
No, not
Oh, right, no, windows.
Oh,
Tinted
tinting.
windows.
Tinting the windows.
Yeah.
Wrong tent.
Jade
Wrong
out
tent.
there.
I've been working on the
I thought
railroad.
Jade joined the
So funny.
circus. I didn't know what happened there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so Shirley, I think the biggest thing is to know, okay, if you're on this long journey, you have to put things and rhythms in your life in place to stay motivated and to stay consistent. And then the other great thing is too, Shirley, income goes up over time. It's not going to be a ton, but your income should go up year after year. And so that is a positive in there. And then you may look and say, hey, there's some expenses that I'm able to kind of adjust here or there as well to get that extra margin. But yeah, that's the hard thing about money, you guys. And I think this is what's always tough for us when we're on the Ramsey show, we're doing this, is money doesn't have feelings, doesn't have emotion. And if you have, a big hole in a smaller shovel, it's just going to take a longer process versus the vice versa. So I think Shirley.
I will say, what we've noticed over the years, when we're doing debt-free screams right upstairs up there on that debt-free stage, the number of times we ask someone what happened to your income during
Yes.
the time you were getting out of debt, 95% of them say their income went up.
Yes.
And it's partly because of side hustles. Sometimes it just means, because you're just aware and you're going, I need some money. And your brain starts looking around for stuff. And all of a sudden that career thing, something pops up over there and, I get paid $8,000 for that. I'm going over there.
Yeah.
And
the life
stuff
change
starts happening. I don't know, there's not a magic to it, but I
Right.
have noticed that people when you start. I think it's just you start paying attention.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, and a lot happens, and Jade, you can probably speak to this too, over those long years, like people that are on a long journey of this, things happen. You end up moving, I mean, like just life happens in 7 years, a lot of life. So your circumstances can shift as well, which, may be in your favor when it comes to paying
Hey,
off debt.
what's y'all's income peak at? during
Well,
the
yeah, I wanted to say that. So Sam and I, when we started, our income was at $30,000, and I think it's really important to talk about that because if you're here and your budget isn't quite balancing and you're trying to figure that out, it could be one of two problems, right? If your income is just low, that's not sustainable. So doing a side hustle, Sam and I did tons of side hustles, but that wasn't really the thing that broke us free. It helped, but when your income is low, you have to get on a trajectory that's gonna raise your core income, meaning your main job is enough money to pay off your debt. And so to your point, Dave, we started at 30,000 and realized, okay, we've got to get our career on track. And when you're changing your career trajectory, that can take time. And so for us, it was like 30,000, next year 50,000, next year 80,000, next year. And by the time we called the Ramsey show to pay off, we were at, I think, 230,000.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it was a boom, boom, but it was a stair step over 7.5 years, which is what it should be.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's not linear.
No,
That's
it's
the
not.
point. It's on a curve.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. We are cheering you on, girl.
You got this, kid. You can do
Yes.
it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're so welcome. We've seen a lot of Shirleys up there doing their debt-free scream, so this is such a possible journey for you. So yeah, we're cheering you on. All right, next we have an email from Jason in Dallas, Texas. I've tried using pen and paper, Excel, and other apps, but I still struggle to stick to a budget. What makes every dollar different, and how does it help people stay on track?
I mean, it's easy. I would say, right? It's easy to use. I'm not a tech person, but it's very easy.
We call it UI in the biz.
Is
The
that-
user interface is simple. It's easy to use.
You
That's
lost me
nerd
already.
speak. That's nerd speak.
But it's on your phone.
We wanted to make it so simple there was no excuses. Because, looking at an Excel spreadsheet, only one person in that marriage wants to look at a spreadsheet.
And knows how. Can I say this? Winston and I went to breakfast the other morning to talk about our year, and he has Excel up because he's doing all these formulas, and he's like J25 plus E backspace
He sunk your
49,
battleship.
and then he did, yeah, and then he presses enter, and it's like, and I was like, what witchcraft just happened in front of me? Like this, I can't do it.
And you're probably not supposed to touch it.
Stresses me out. Yeah.
Don't touch it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like
You
it's
are married to a nerd.
so that is why Excel long term does not work for people long term because it's on a computer and it's so confusing.
But every dollar's great. I always say it kind of bridges the gap of communication between couples because I have it on my phone, Sam has it on his phone. So if I do something, he sees it. And it's like, oh, you went to Kroger today. Yeah, I did. So I feel like that's what makes it a lot easier. Dave, you said this, and it was true for us too, because every dollar didn't come into the picture until midway through our debt payoff. So that first half, we had the checkbook ledger that I'd have to write my stuff in, and Sam probably got tired of me yelling at him, you didn't write you didn't write it in the checkbook ledger. It's like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're
worse.
keeping it by hand and it's a checkbook, and then you have to reconcile your checkbook,
Yeah.
that's so low tech and that's old school. No one does a checkbook that way anymore.
Yeah, things
No one
slip
does
through
a
the
checking
cracks.
account that way. No one has a checkbook, but no one does a checking account that way anymore. And you don't keep a budget on a yellow pad anymore. Like
That's right.
Sharon and I did the yellow pad. That's how we survived after we went broke. And then when we went to the pages that we had in Financial Peace University when it was on a VHS tape, and we used those pages. But every dollar, it's easy, and it's natural accountability with your spouse.
Yep.
If you've got that, if you're single now, it's natural accountability to yourself because it's staring back out at you. It's giving you feedback because it's dynamic through the month. You're doing your entries. It's right there. The fact is, it works better because it's easier.
I was gonna say, and it's automatic. So when you're changing stuff and you're tracking transactions, it's doing the math for you. I mean, you're seeing everything add up.
Yeah.
You're not, right, when it was pen and paper, you're like, okay, if we take this away, now we gotta go through and subtract. Like, you're doing it, but every dollar, it is right there, you guys.
I can write a letter in cursive and put it on a piece of paper and put it in snail mail, right? And it'll be full of grammatical errors and misspellings, and it'll take a week and a half to get there. Or I can send an email. Now, what am I more likely to do?
right.
I'm more likely to do the email. Why? Because it's easier.
And it really is easy. As a matter of fact, George, you and I have done in lifetime.
Oh,
Remember
yes.
on TRS?
I think we set the world record.
Yeah, we built an every dollar budget live on the show. I think it took us less than 5 minutes, so I think we should do that now. Bobby is still back there in the internet. Bobby,
Let's try to break our record.
Yeah, let's pull
See if
it
we
up
can do
real
in 2
quick.
minutes.
So if you click the link, which I hope you do, this is the first screen that you're gonna see. It's gonna say, okay, let's get started. And so from there, you just start entering in your income. And it's got those defaults there. Remember, you can add other line items if you want to, if you have side hustles, which I hope you do. By the time this live stream is over, you'll have a side hustle. But put in your income, and then this is where you work through those line items. Be as detailed as you can, but if you don't know a number, don't let it stop you.
Educated guess.
Yeah, I'll take that. Make an educated guess, get everything in there again. Or if you're like, I just want to get to the main page that I saw with Jade earlier, you could probably scroll through all of this and click through it. It's not going to make you do all of this, right? So fill them in, get as close to it as you can, and it's going to go through all of these different categories: transportation, personal, lifestyle. And if you're like, hey, it never asked me about, I don't know, family holidays, that's fine.
Doggy daycare.
Doggy daycare. Once you get to the main screen, you can add those categories, okay? You can customize this for you. This is really just to help you get started, right?
Yeah, we want to walk people through it so they don't just stare at a big empty screen having to do all this themselves.
That's
So
right.
you're welcome.
Yeah, this just kind of gets your brain thinking, because if you were just to pop it up and see it there, you'd probably feel overwhelmed.
You'd forget 17 of these.
That's
so
right.
you can set all this, boom, and now it says you built your first budget. You're either going to be over or under. So Jade showed you, hey, if you're in the red, you need more money. But look, here we have $860 left to budget, which is a good problem to have. We need to apply that. And like Jade showed you, you got your debt listed at the bottom of your every dollar budget, smallest to largest balance. So this gives you a very clear picture of where you're actually at.
That's right.
If I do this, here's what will happen.
Yeah, and we've got the main things in there, but then at the bottom, you'll have to scroll in yourself and add that debt in there, because I know you have it. So add them in there. Every dollar will put them smallest to largest for you. That's where that $860 is going to you paying off your debt. That was easy.
That's it. And like Jade said, you get that margin by picking up the side hustles. Now we get more to work with to throw at the debt. And I just like having the visual, because when it's all in my head, I don't know where I'm at. And so I know it's scary at first. It can be overwhelming to look under the bed. And then you realize, oh, it's not a boogie monster. It's just my income and actual expenses.
Yeah,
I got to
right.
look that person in the mirror. But that reality is empowering once you get through that.
Yeah, and it's amazing the control and the peace you feel once you start doing it. I mean, seriously, it just gives you so much freedom. I think that's the biggest lie, is that a budget limits your freedom, but it doesn't. It gives you freedom. It gives you that permission to spend and enjoy life without having to question, is this okay? Is this too much? Or all this. Like, when it is planned out, there is freedom in it, and enjoy your life, and it's great. There's boundaries and limitations, sure, right? You have guardrails, but overall, it is so freeing. And so that every dollar, it is part of the package that Dave was mentioning earlier. So make sure when you sign up, you will be getting that. And you guys, it is a game changer, I'm telling you. It's one of the best apps. I feel like that and Instagram is what I go to when I open my phone. You know how you have a habit? I literally do. I'm like,
I go to the Bible
every
app,
dollar.
Rachel.
Okay. Thank you, Jade.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
And it is. You know how you subconsciously go
I
to
believe
apps?
Jade.
I mean, you go to apps, every dollar is one of those for me. I'm not kidding. I'm like, oh, I'm in every dollar. I didn't even know how I got here, but here I am. All right, so let's give away some more cash, you guys. Our winner number 3 is Kelly O from Hayden, Idaho. Good job, Kelly.
Way to go, Kelly.
Oh, so fun.
$4,000 coming your way.
Yes, a late Christmas gift to you. And then let's just do another one, you guys. Winner number 4, Jessica A from Germantown, Tennessee.
All right.
That is going to you. So Kelly and Jessica, again, our team will be in touch, and congratulations. Thanks so much.
Good ROI on signing up for a free live stream.
So not bad, not bad. All right, let's go to another Zoom call, and we have Eric from Chicago. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how are
I'm
you?
great. I'm great. So question for you. Me and my wife recently celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And one of the first things we did was budget for 2025, which was very romantic of us. But one of the great things about it is that it was the first year that we've been in a surplus. We're debt free as of last year. So we're just wondering,
That's great.
based on your recommendations, what you think you would do with some extra money lying around.
Oh, so are you in baby step 3 or are you beyond that?
Working towards 4 this year. So we're pretty confident that we're going to hit 4.
That's awesome. So you're going to be in a new phase where you're going, all right, we're moving all this money we were throwing at debt at the emergency fund into investing 15% of your income. Are you going to be able to do that to hit that 15% mark?
Yeah, so we're going to do the 401k for sure. And I think that that'll probably cover the majority of that. And then this was kind of just side money as well. So I
Extra.
wasn't sure if it would make sense to go anywhere else with it or maybe stick more of it there.
Have you bought a house yet?
No. like that. We're still renting.
I'm putting 15% in baby step 4 towards your retirement plan, and any other extra money I find, we're either buying some stuff as newlyweds, time to get a couch, upgrade a car, whatever, paying cash for all that, no new debt, you just got rid of it, thank God, okay? And then any other money I have laying around, you feel like you got some surplus, that's pretty cool. Unusual place to be, I like it though. Just start piling it up for your first house. And the bigger the down payment, the less the mortgage, and the faster you pay it off, and the faster you're millionaires. So we want to move that direction and see how big, stack some cash to get ready for the house purchase. Anybody else see anything?
I mean, you can, like you said, enjoy some of it now. When you get that gazelle intensity, now it's time to move into intentionality. And I'm the kind who would go, let's stack it up in savings. And my wife has to remind me, hey, can we maybe have fun too? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. We should
Is
go
that
on a
how
date
it sounds when she says it?
A little bit.
One more time, let me hear
Sweet
it.
Whitney.
I think we should have some fun too. Can we go on a date? That'd be great.
So Whitney, I love it. Yeah, and I would say too, like you guys sitting down together and just dreaming and saying, yeah, from like the house. Like, is there anything we want to do different to the house? You hate the backsplash and you want to replace that. Like, what are things?
They don't own a house.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay. Well, I'm thinking
Don't
of home
replace this
repairs.
backsplash in a rental.
Yeah,
please,
yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. The landlord will do that. That's true. But finding things in your life, right? The couch, furniture, whatever, that you think, gosh, this would be great to have an addition of our everyday life. Like, what are those things? Because now you're at the point with that margin to then that intersects your real life. And that's where the fun is, I think, too, where you, yes, we want to be investing, we want to be saving up for the house, but what are the other things that you and your wife want to do this year to enjoy it and be putting money away and having those short-term goals too, I think is really important. So
I think our first caller has a lamp for sale.
he can get you some lamps.
That's true, Rachel. I like having the sinking funds in every dollar to
I
where
do
I
too.
know we're saving up for the vacation. We're saving up to replace the car.
Yes.
And that way it's not a question, it's not an emergency. We planned for it.
That's right. Yep. And
So have a
talking
little
ahead.
dream date
And
with
it can shift throughout the year too. So give yourself some grace in that. But yeah, don't replace the backsplash in your rental. Don't listen to me. That would be money down. Not good. Not good. All right. Thanks so much, Eric. Appreciate
so much.
your
We appreciate
question.
that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. We have a question from social, and this person is asking, should I be contributing to my 401k when I'm struggling to do baby steps 1 and 2? Baby step 1 is getting a $1,000 emergency fund, and the baby step 2 is the debt snowball.
Easy answer, like Jade said earlier. No, you should not be contributing, especially if you're struggling. But here's why we recommend pausing investing during baby steps 1 through 3. Number one, it frees up more money that you can now use toward the baby step 1 emergency fund, baby step 2 paying off debt, the emergency fund. And then it also lights a fire under you, because I can tell you want to invest. You want to see that money compound. And so I actually like that burning feeling inside that makes you want to get back to investing, because I think that speeds up your debt payoff.
You're right.
What a motivator.
Well, speak to the
I
people,
do.
because so many people, I mean, I was one of those people who felt like, oh my gosh, if I wait, and I did wait, but I thought if I wait, it's gonna be too late.
I'm losing the match.
Yeah.
Why would you give up free money? Dave always says it's so great.
The power of focus is greater in a 36-month window than the power of math. So the match that you lose, or the power of compound interest that you lose by not investing for a short window, the trade-off for that is the intensity and the sacrifice, the I've had it moment. We're not going on vacation because I'm not doing my 401k. We're not going to eat out because I'm not doing my 401k. I'm going across the street and pick up the lamp because I'm not doing my 401k. We're going to take a side hustle because I'm not doing my 401k. It pisses me off that I'm not doing my 401k, and I lean in that much harder, and that 36 months to do your debt snowball turns into 24 months because you crank it up.
That's right.
Everything in your life, and your parents think you need counseling and all this, right? But you're getting her done, baby. And that's exactly, George,
And you come
exactly
back
right.
swinging.
That's
You went
exactly
from
how it works.
you went
it's
from
a
a 3%
behavior
match.
modification issue.
Yeah,
It is-
people go from a 3% match. Now you're investing 15%. You 5x your investment rate once
That's
you're
what I
out
was
of
going
that
to say.
debt.
Is majority of people, if they are investing, which a lot of Americans aren't, and if they are, they're investing such a small percentage. So again,
It's a freaking joke.
Yeah, so when you get the 15%, you guys, I mean, you will more than catch up. It will be fine. We
It's
promise.
like I'm doing acorns. I'm putting 5 cents in. Oh, give me a break. You're not getting anywhere.
My spare change's getting invested,
My
Dave.
spare change, I'm gonna get there. I got me my little thing in my pocket.
Gosh, oh my gosh.
God.
No, but really, yeah, that 18, 24 months that you're pausing, you will catch up with the 15%. But that focus intensity, just like George and Dave were saying, so important. All right, let's give our last cash giveaway. Are you ready, you guys?
Yes.
Here we
I'm kinda
go.
sad about this. This is fun. Okay, Elydia, is that right? F
I'm going with it.
From Portland, Oregon. If that sounds any remotely close to your name, we
Her
will
last
find
name
you.
initial is F.
F,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Congratulations.
Yep. So we'll be contacting you, and congratulations.
Isn't it fun giving away Dave's money?
$4,000.
It's some of the most
know.
fun you can have.
And I wish we had them up just to be like, oh my gosh, here it all is. So exciting. So fun.
Expect
so
a
fun.
Venmo from @DaveRamsey.
That's right.
We're more sophisticated than that, I promise.
Not much.
All right, let's go to another question on Zoom. And this is from Natalie, and she is from Bellevue, Ohio. Hi, Natalie. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, hello. How can we help?
Well, my husband and I have been following the plan for years, and we've paid off all of our debt except our mortgage.
Yay!
Yes.
How much total?
Oh, 300,000 in student loans.
Good
plus
Lord.
Credit cards and other
Yeah.
stuff.
How long did that take?
About 6 years.
You are a rock star,
Good
girl.
for you,
Woo, proud of
Natalie.
you.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Thank you. So now we were doing well at the sprinting portion, like you were talking about earlier. So we've continued through the baby steps. We have 4 kids, and now we're working to pay off our house. And the emotional intensity of that just feels so different now, working to pay off our mortgage, than it did when it felt like paying off student loans and the other debts when we were earlier in the baby
More
steps.
or less
So,
intense?
Less intense.
Okay, good. It should
Yeah.
be. It should be.
Yes, so much so that we're not, it just seems like everything else has become a priority over paying off the mortgage. So we're wondering, do you have any tips or advice for that? Or maybe that's kind of part of how it should be too.
When did you pay off the last debt?
Gosh, it's been 5 years ago.
So for 5 years, you've been in baby steps 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And you guys have 4 kids. How old are your kids?
1.5, 7, 9, and 11.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're in it. I mean, the life that shifts, right, from when you guys were
Yes.
on your journey of paying off debt to what it is now, it just looks different. I mean, the reality is you have 4 more mouths to feed and clothes, and I mean, it's everything. I mean, so there is a lot of life that you're handling now that you weren't. So I would give yourself, a lot of grace, but make it a point, I would, just to make these small goals to kind of start getting those quick wins again. So whether that's, paying an extra mortgage payment, maybe twice this year, right? You kind of start doing that. And the math on that is wild. If you go to our Ramsey mortgage calculator, it is wild. Like even one payment, what that does and speeds up. I mean, it is just, it's crazy. So again, it's these doable chunks, because I feel like you may be looking at the full mortgage and feeling like, oh my gosh, this just feels so big. I feel like we're back to our $300,000 of student loan debt. And in 7 years, right, it just feels like a lot. But find some of these quick wins just to put in the rhythm. And then once you start doing that, I feel like when you start gaining a little bit of that momentum, it gets a little bit easier from the behavior change aspect.
What makes me really angry is looking at the amortization schedule, and you see how much is going to interest versus the principal. That lit a fire under me to go, all right, I'm sick of giving the lender more money. I did that enough in my life. And so that could be a fun thing to do to get you and your husband to go, all right, we're going to set a goal. 2 payments a year. That's what we can commit to in the busy season of life. And maybe in another season, we'll do more.
Yes.
I mean, the truth is, and I don't want to misquote this, but Dave, isn't it an average of 10 to 12 years that people pay off their debt, everything, including their home, like their whole
Everything,
mortgage?
including the home, yeah.
So you're not behind, is what I'm saying. Like you're not.
Well, you did not have an average amount of debt either.
That's right.
Way over average amount of debt. I'm so proud of you. Way to go.
Incredible.
You've killed it. You're amazing.
I mean, Natalie,
very
that's
well
incredible.
done. It is normal to move in baby steps 1 through 3, emergency fund and debt snowball. You should be intense and sacrificial. Your lifestyle should look like you dropped an atom bomb on it. There should be nothing going on, scorched earth, right? And then when you move into 4, 5, 6, which is where you are, you move from intense to intentional. The fact that you're even asking this question says you're intentional. That tells me you're going to be fine. You've done so good, kiddo. Very well. You're going to be so stinking rich. Your kids are going to be rich. Your grandkids are going to be rich. You're going to be outlandishly generous. You paid off $300,000 in a culture that tells everyone that it's impossible. Be a victim. You can't do it. Well, she just mic dropped on all of you people that say that because she's a rock star. I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you.
You're going to be okay.
Thank you, Natalie. Thanks for the call. Oh, it's always fun to end on that, though. I mean, just that level of
Yeah.
hope that you're like, oh my gosh, she did it. She did it. 300,000.
You
That's
guys
a lot
set
of
that
money.
up. You set that up. No, we didn't. We had no idea what you were
Yeah.
going to say. That's why we get fired up. It's so fun. It's like doing the show.
I know it is. And
We don't know what they're going to say when they call in.
I like
you know?
that. So awesome. So awesome. Well, you guys, this has been a terrific night.
You guys, I'm so proud of y'all,
good.
too. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good work. Good work. Hey, I hope we've proven to you that this is possible, that you can take control and you can win in 2025. I know you can. I've watched people like her and people like you do it every day. No excuses. Be grown-ups. Can't be children. Can't be having a little fit and waiting on blame somebody else. If you want to do all that, you can, but it's not going to cause you to win. What wins is when you take control, you physically take control of the money, and you make it behave. There's a lot of optimism in the air right now. A lot is changing. Don't be on the sidelines. Catch these waves as they come through. We're going to see some waves come through our economy that are good waves. Ride some of them. Take advantage of this momentum. Take advantage of what's happening and changing and moving. Take advantage of what you've heard tonight and what you've seen. Don't be normal. Normal sucks. You don't want to be normal. It's time to be weird. Be weird and be proud of it. So be sure and check out, again, every dollar, the whole bundle, all that stuff we told you, $500 worth of stuff is only $79. That ends at midnight tonight. You can go to RamseySolutions.com/offer and get that bundle. Be sure you check that out. Thanks for hanging out with us. All you guys on the wall, thanks for hanging out with us. Whoop, 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 whoop. Way to go. You guys are amazing. We appreciate you. And this was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And here's the truth. The truth is you can do it. The data that we have at Ramsey from having done this for so many decades, the number of people like that last Zoom caller or like Jade, like George and Whitney, who became millionaires in their early 30s, and not because I pay him so much, but because they did the stuff we talk about all the time. This stuff absolutely works. Please, please go change your life. Please go change your family tree. Thanks for being with us, America. God bless you.